All right. I think now is a good time to get started. So, again, hello everybody. Thank you for joining today. We're going to be talking about our new procurement system, CSU by P2P. Um, this is week one of a series of trainings that will extend for 4 more weeks after this. We're going to cover different topics every week. This week is essentially a system introduction. We'll talk about suppliers, navigation in the system, uh, different ways you can shop in the system, how to enter chart field information, and just how to search in the system. So just a general overview of what you can do. It's geared towards shoppers and requesters, which I believe most people in this training are. If you have a different role, which we'll check our roles at some point throughout this training, there are other trainings specific to approvers uh, that will happen. The approver training is week 3. So and next week, we're going to go in depth more into shopping. So this is again just an overview of shopping. We kind of want to give you guys an idea of all the tools that are available and how to use them so you can get started if you are feeling ambitious and want to start working in the system. We actually have had quite a few people working in the system so far, so we're really happy and encouraged by that. So I'll quickly, well, let me share my screen here. I have a presentation. Which I'm not going to spend too much time on because I think there's a lot to it. Um, oh, hold on. Yeah, there we go. Uh, there's a lot to cover in the slides, but I think it's better if we do it more hands-on. So, what we're going to do is we're going to I'm going to show you how to log in. We're going to go through modules covering different topics, and I'll demo what we're talking about, and then we'll give you guys a little bit of time to try it for yourself. Uh, since we're on Zoom, I think it'd be beneficial if you guys can kind of just follow along I'm doing it. But if you I'll take a few stops along the way, maybe 5-minute breaks here and there, so we can answer you guys' questions and you guys can test things out. We've been doing these trainings in person for the first 4 days of the week, and it's a lot easier to do that kind of interaction since we can kind of walk around. But that's a perfect time for me to chime in and say I have a few my fellow buyers are here as well. So my name is Lauren. I should have started with that. My name is Lauren. I'm a buyer here. I work in contracts and procurement. Um, we're part of the operational team that's implementing this new system. I have my fellow buyers here. So Alex Arias is a buyer, Christian Laffoon and Christian Bonus Jose. They're here with me to answer your guys' questions. So as I'm presenting and going through the slides and giving you a demo, they're going to be answering questions in the chat. So if you have questions, put them in the chat. I would appreciate you guys, if the other buyers, if there's anything, I'm not going to be looking at that really. So if you guys see anything or need to flag me or stop me to address something, please let me know and I'll just do that. Um, I believe, I don't know if you guys can unmute yourselves, but if you guys have questions that you want to address to the whole group, you can wait and I'll ask if anyone has questions, and then you guys we'll address them then, just for time's sake. So I'll stop right now. Is there any questions? Okay, I don't hear anything. I don't know if people can unmute themselves, but if you guys have a question or you need to be unmuted, let us know. Okay, and I'm going to move forward. So uh, we went live with this system just this week, starting Monday. Um, I'm going to zoom through these slides and just kind of talk about it. So, for those of you who aren't familiar with the system, really quickly, uh, it's a system that's going to sit on top of our current ERP system, which is CFS. Uh, it is a platform. I like this slide because it essentially gives you a visual idea of what it is and how it functions and integrates with what we're currently doing. So, all CSU Buy is essentially a platform that's sitting on top of our common financial system, which is our ERP system that's system wide. Um, and all the things that you do, uh, that involve finances will be, for the most part, happening in this platform, CSU BUY. So supplier master or supplier management, shopping, requisitioning, ordering, shipping and receiving happens in here, invoicing and matching. All those things are going to happen in the system, and all those things are going to be happening in the system. And along the way, the system will be interacting with our ERP system in the background. So I think the best thing to start with is to see if everyone can log on. So I'm going to get to this slide here. Okay, so we want you guys to try to log into the site. There are three different ways you can log in. I will show you every single one. The first being, if you go to this website, csubuy.calstate.edu, you can navigate to the P2P page there. If you go to the search bar and type in P2P or CSU BUY, it'll take you to the CSU BUY page. And from there, there's a button that says CSU BUY login. I'm not going to show that because that isn't the way that I recommend you do it, but it is an option. The second way you can do it, and I'm going to switch my screen here so I can show you guys. Hold on. If you go to our contracts and procurement, the CSUF contracts and procurement website, can you
Hey,
guys
hey
see my screen?
Lauren,
You can't see, right?
it's like grayed out for us.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
I might have to stop sharing and reshare.
Yeah. Here we go. Can you guys see? Can you see it now? Okay. So I'm on our website, and we have a page specifically dedicated to CSU BUY on our website. If you go to our website, scroll down, see the CSU BUY Procure to Pay. You click this, learn more about CSU BUY P2P. And this website or this page on our site is everything dedicated to CSU BUY. Oh, it blocked out the email. That's really funny. Okay, so if you go to the site, you can open an email and email us. That's going to take you to the email address or generate an email to the email address that we're using to monitor anything and everything related to the site. If you're having any issues, and I'll show it again on the PowerPoint in a second, that will be your place to connect with us via email. But if you want to get into the site, you'd come here to this tile and click Launch CSU BUY P2P. So I'm going to do that. Can everyone still see my screen?
Yeah, we can still see.
Okay. So I'm logging in and okay, it worked. So that's the main way that we're recommending that people get into the system. So let's take a second right now to do that. Everyone try to log in. And if you guys are having any issues, send us an email or reach out in the chat and we'll do our best to help you. I know it's a little bit more clunky when we're doing this virtually, but we'll do everything we can to help you get logged in. Oh, I guess it's also worth, can you guys see the PowerPoint now, or do I need to change? You can't see it. Okay,
That's
got
good.
it. Okay. So, again, if you guys are having issues logging in, if you're getting an error message when you try to log in, please send an email to our dlcsubyp2p@fullerton.edu, and we'll reach out to you directly and help you with your issue. Um, Again, if you have a shopper or a requester role, those are the people we're targeting today. But if you have any role, it's fine. We're happy you came to the training and we'll help you out. But this is going to be geared towards those roles specifically. So while you guys are trying to log in, I'll actually go through the differences between a shopper and a requester. Or here, let me start here. So who uses CSU BUY? Uh, there are various roles that people can have in the system based on what their responsibilities are related to financial matters. this is listed from left to right in the order that they would interact in the system. So the first thing that starts everything is shopping. So a shopper can do exactly what it says there, shop and create carts. What that means is they can go into the system, create carts, add items, put in cost details, attach items to draft requisitions, but they cannot submit requisitions into the workflow for approval, for DOA approval, for procurement approval. They can't do that. Only requesters can do that. So the difference between a requester and a shopper is that requesters can submit carts into requisitions in the system. So it's important to note because if you're a shopper, there's going to be a point in the shopping process where you're going to have to assign your cart to a requester who will be able to submit the requisition into the system. The next stage of the process is the approval process. There are many different types of approvers. These people's role is to review and approve requisitions. This includes budget approvals, so that would be like your DOA approver. Functions essentially the same as it did in CFS. It includes compliance reviews, so IT review, facilities reviews, catering reviews, just to name a few of the types of review that are happen in the system. Um, After that is the procurement review, which is technically an approver role. This is going to function the same way as it did in CFS. This is the buyers reviewing to make sure that the everything is finalized and approved and completed, and we followed all of the policies and statutes and guidelines that we're required to as a state entity before we officially submit purchase orders to vendors. The next step is the accounts payable step. So processing invoices and payments is going to be initiated in this system by the same individuals from accounts payable that were doing it in CFS prior to now. So again, differences between shoppers and requesters. Shoppers can shop, but they cannot submit requisitions. Requesters can shop and submit requisitions. Submit meaning they can submit them into the workflow so that they can be approved and then eventually turned into purchase orders. Okay, how's the chat looking? Are people able to log in? Uh, okay, I see someone mentioned the tour. You can click through the tour. You don't have to. It's useful. Maybe not while we're talking in the meeting right now, but it is helpful. It kind of gives you a general overview of everything in the system. There's also a little guy in the corner. I think it's called PIP. And if you click on that, it can give you kind of more tour, more details about things in the system. But it is a useful first step if you are lost or you need help. Okay, so I'm just going to assume that we're all logged in and we can start moving forward. So again, just to outline, you're going to go into the system to shop. The shoppers will assign their requisitions to requesters. If you're a requester and you're shopping, you can just check out. You check out, your requisitions will go into the approval phase where they will get DOA approval, compliance approval, procurement approval, and then a purchase order will be created. Any questions? I hopefully people can unmute themselves. I can adjust that. Okay. Guys should be able to do that now. If you would like to ask any questions, feel free. I'll wait a second. If not, we're going to pretty much get straight into the system. Okay. I don't hear anything, so I'm going to move forward. Okay, so now we're going to go through some navigation in the system. I'll show you basic navigation, how to adjust things in your user profile, and just call out important things for you to know as a shopper and a requester who's going to be shopping in the system, essentially. Okay, and I'm going to go into the system. I think it's better to see it hands-on. Do I need to? Okay, hold on. Can you guys see?
It's grayed out again.
Okay, I don't know why it keeps doing that. Okay, better, right? Can you guys see my screen now?
It's good now.
Okay, perfect. Should I zoom in a little bit? Is this view okay? Can you guys see the words and stuff? I'll zoom in a little bit. Okay, so this is the screen you guys should see when you first log in. This is the shopping homepage. This is where you would want to be as a shopper, especially when you first log into the system, because it's kind of a home base for shopping. So, first things first, the main navigation in the system is done through the flyout, which is this black bar that's on the left-hand side of your screen. The flyout is called that because if you hover over any of the tiles, something flies out from the side. This is this flyout is pretty much there on no matter what screen you're on in the system. So you can pretty much get to wherever you need to go at any time if you use this. This first tile here, the home button, will take you to your home page, which you can adjust. So I'll show you how to do that. But your default home page is going to be the shopping home page. The second flyout, and something that's really important for shoppers and requesters is the shop. But shop, what it does is it's everything relating to the shopping process up until the point that you submit your orders. So from here, you can search for your shopping carts, suppliers, uh, categories of purchases you want to make. You can look at your cart specifically. So yeah, all things related to shopping, you'll find in this tab here. The next one is orders. Orders is essentially once you've completed your shopping and your order is submitted, all searches or information regarding the documents will be found in the orders tab. As you can see here, the orders are pretty much you can shop for any type of document that you'll find in the system. Requisitions, purchase orders, change requests, which are essentially change orders. That's the version of a change order in the system. Requests, which are non-shopping related requests, so like vendor ads, new vendor forms, anything that's not related to a purchase. And then vouchers and receipts are for AP purposes, for payment purposes. Receipts would be shipping and receiving receipts or voucher receipts. So confirming that an invoice is okay to pay.
CSU system-wide CSU Buy Procure to Pay or P2P demo series. We're excited to have you join us as we continue preparing for the rollout of CSU Buy.
Okay, thank you. All right. So I'm gonna go through a few more things on this side, which would be the next one is suppliers. So uh, this is a big topic, especially right now, because we're all wanting to make sure our suppliers are in the system. So if you want to know anything about suppliers, this is the main place you would go on the flyout. From here, you can manage your supplier requests. You can search for suppliers, or you can initiate new supplier requests. So I think for shoppers and requesters, because again, we're focusing on that viewpoint today, those are the three main tiles you need to worry about: shop, orders, and suppliers. Going along the top here, another key feature is this quick search bar at the top. This is a global search. I'll just demonstrate it so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm typing in Amazon, which is a vendor in the system that we can use. So it's a keyword search and it's a global search in the system. So I typed in Amazon and it broke down the search results by category. So these are supplier profiles for Amazon specifically, contracts, requisitions associated with Amazon, purchase orders for Amazon, and vouchers for Amazon, just to give you an example of what that looks like. There are two search features in the system: the quick search, which I just showed you, and then an advanced search, which I'll get into in a little more detail later, where you can really drill down on what you want to see and how you want to see it based on what's in the system. The next thing here is your shopping cart. This is going to show you the amount in your active shopping cart. I'll get into shopping carts a little bit later and I'll call back to this. Bookmarks, you can bookmark pages and you would find your bookmarks here. The next one over, this little flag, is action items. So action items are exactly that. Something in the system that you can take action on or are required to take action on. Usually it's broken into two separate categories. So I'll just show you mine, for example. So I am one of the master supplier approvers in the system. So one of my it's broken into categories. So supplier request approvals. We've been seeing many supplier ads in the system, which is great. We want to get the suppliers in there as soon as possible. So as you can see, I have 6 unassigned supplier request approvals, 13 requisitions, and 13 requisitions that are assigned to me specifically. So it breaks it into things that are assigned to you and things that you can take action on that aren't directly assigned to you, but you can assign to yourself. We're not going to talk about approvals in this. If you want to learn more about that, I recommend you set up one-on-one time with the buyers or come to the week 3 training where we're going to focus specifically on approvals. The next thing here is notifications. So there's a robust notification system built in. You can essentially get I have no notification because I cleared them out. I was getting quite a few because a lot of people adding suppliers, so it was kind of making it difficult for me to really see what was going on. Notifications can be really useful because in the system you can set it to there are tons of different potential notification settings you can set. I'll show you that in 1 second. And you can either get no notification, an in-system notification, which would mean you get pinged at this little bell right here, or an email, or none, or both. So there's 4. Both, email, in-system notification, or none. Um, uh, the next thing is your user tab. So this is pretty important. This is essentially all information relating to you as a user in the system and your profile. A lot of the stuff's preset. It's preloaded in when we created the profiles for you, but there are some fields that you can manipulate to your liking. I'm going to kind of cover all those for you right now. So actually, before I do that, I'll just go through the rest of the navigation on this page. The next thing I want to mention is this area here, quick links. This is super useful. We've been using the system for the week so far, and I'd say 90% of the things you guys need to do at this point, you're going to find right here. First thing is view carts. So this will take you straight into your cart management where you can see what carts you have in the system, my requisitions. So once the carts are turned into your carts are returned into requisitions, you would find them here. Once your requisitions are turned into purchase orders, you'd find them here. And then this is where you would initiate a new supplier request. And from here, you can search for suppliers in an advanced search field, which I'm going to talk about later. These last 2 are hyperlinks. This first one, CSU BY Training Library. This is going to take you to the Chancellor's Office CSU BY Training Document Repository. It's essentially a list of short videos, PDFs. There's a lot of different types of literature you find there, guiding you through different things you can do in the system. It's very useful. You can really narrow it down to what you want to see and what will be useful for you. And it kind of covers a broad range of everything that's possible in the system. This last one here, open a ticket using ServiceNow. This will open a ticket to the Chancellor's Office for issues. We recommend at this point that you don't use this. For now, we're in the hypercare phase, so we're essentially your guys' main point of contact if you have issues. Essentially, reach out to us. If we can't handle it at a campus level, we'll reach out to the Chancellor's Office and submit a ticket for you. So at this point, you're getting extra service and you don't really need to worry about that. So we would recommend if you have issues to email us at that email address, DL CSU by P2P at fullerton.edu. I think they put it in the chat. Okay, so this is a organization message. This is information specific to our campus. General announcements is specific to the whole system. So these are system-wide announcements about the system. If you scroll down, these tiles are your guided buying system, which I'll talk more about that later. And then some more search functionality. If you want to search for orders, you can search for them here. If you want to search for vendors, you can search for them here. There's a lot of redundancy in the system. And then approvals, again, we're not going to talk about today, but this is putting all my approvals in one spot that I can see without having to go into any other pages. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the user profile. So if I come up here to on the top right-hand corner to the little shadow guy, I don't know what you want to call that, silhouette. You click on that. From here is where you would set your home page. So if you find a page on the site that you really like, you can click on this set my home page, and you can decide to set that as your page that will open up when you first enter the site. Um, Another thing is the main thing that you're going to want to do in here is you're going to do this, view my profile. So I'm going to click on that now. If you guys can follow along with me. Um, so view my profile. The first thing it's going to show is your name, phone number, and email address. At this point, I want everyone to please check your email, because if the email address that's in there is incorrect, we need to fix it for you, because you won't get emails from the system unless it's correct. So if it says exchange, that's fine. You'll still receive the emails. It's more about if the initial part is correct. So mine, LSKOUG, that's my email address. It's correct. So everybody at this point, just take a second to review that. And if it's incorrect, please send an email to our email address, dlcsubyp2p@fullerton.edu. Okay. Moving on down here. Default user settings. So you can set defaults for yourself. Not going to go into depth on this for time's sake. I kind of want to get through all the modules. So um, the first thing, though, that I do want you to look at is this default addresses here. So um, you want to set the default addresses for your ship to and bill to, because if you don't, every time you create a requisition, you're going to have to enter that manually. And in the system, there's really only one option you have. So if you set it as a default, you won't have to add it in every single time when you're shopping. And I'll show you that when we get to that stage of the training. So um, you want to do shipping address, you want to select address for profile, select address template. You want to click receiving. So for those of you that know and those of you who don't know, we have a separate location for Desert Study Center that very few people are ever going to be shipping anything to that location. So if you are, you know that, and you can edit that on your specific orders. I highly recommend that you set the default to your to CSU Fullerton receiving. So do that now. We're going to go to bill to here. We only have one bill to address. It's CSUF, the accounts payable PO box, which you want to change that to that right now. So CSU Fullerton campus bill to, there's only one option. Again, you don't have to do this. It's useful because if you do it, you won't have to enter it every single time you enter a requisition. It'll default for you. That's what this is, a default address. Um, yeah, I'm not going to touch on that right now. Okay, the next thing is we're going to go one tab down, user roles and access. I want everyone to try to click on assign roles and look at what your role is. Some people know what their roles are supposed to be, some people don't. That's totally fine. I recommend you look at this, and you want to verify that what you see in here is correct. So if you're here because you're a shopper or requester, you should see shopper or requester as your role. If you think you should be an approver and you're not, please send us an email and we'll help you work through that problem or figure out if it is an issue or not. But it's important that you know what your role is, because your role determines what you can do in the system. Okay. And the next thing I'm going to go to is notification preferences, which is what I was talking about earlier. I'm going to click on that. So, like I said, the notification system is very robust and very intricate. So it breaks the notifications into categories based on actions in the system, documents, all different types of things. Um, I am going to just show you this, but our recommendation is that you do not change these yet. So there are default settings and default notifications built into the system. I highly recommend, and the recommendation from the Chancellor's office as well, is that leave the notifications the way they are for now. In the future, if you want to change them, you can, but you should probably wait until you get comfortable. Maybe wait a couple weeks to see how the notifications are, if you're getting a lot of emails, if you're not getting enough emails, and at that point, kind of maybe take a few weeks and then step back and like determine if you think you need to change them or not. I'll show you how to change them, but again, I recommend that you don't. I can't stop you from doing anything, but this is just my recommendation. So I'm here in shopping carts and requisitions. If you click on this little question mark, it'll give you more detail about what that notification type would be. So just to show you, and you can see, I'm sure you can see, I've changed mine already. I've also been using the system for like 6 or 7 months now, so I'm kind of familiar and I know what I prefer, but it did take me a really long time before I realized how I wanted to set this up. So again, I would recommend you wait. But what you would do if you do changes, you click edit section, you'd click override, and then from here you can decide what you want. No notification, just an email, just an in-system notification, or an email and an in-system notification. Okay, I'm gonna get back to the PowerPoint here now. Pull that up. Hold on. Bear with me here for a second. Okay. Okay. So the next thing we're going to talk about is suppliers. I'm going to zoom through these. Again, oh, also we'll share this with you guys if you want to look at things that we have in the PowerPoint. We'll share it with you guys, make it available. It does go into detail and some things that I'm not touching on today because I kind of want to get you guys started. But there are resources in there that I'm not touching on, so we will share that with you guys. The next thing we're going to talk about, and I think this is kind of the main focus of today, is suppliers. So we're going to talk about everything suppliers. We're going to talk about how to add suppliers, how to check the status of your suppliers, and how to um, extend suppliers that are active for other campuses to our campus. So I really think this is important to start with because you can't place an order in the system until your supplier is in the system. So I'm going to say that again. You cannot order an item from a vendor that's not in the system. You can't in CFS, you were able to put in a requisition without entering a vendor. That caused problems for us because we can't pay a vendor that's not in the system. So we'd have to do that after the fact and it would cause big delays. Now, you can't enter a requisition for a vendor unless they're active for our business units in the system. Just want to make that sure that's very clear. So if you can follow the logic of that, you really need to be doing the first thing you need to do in the system when you start out is search for the supplier that you want to use and make sure they're active for shopping. So I'm going to show you how to do that and how to search, and we're going to go into depth into that now. Okay, so I'm going to switch back to my profile here and share. Sorry, hold on here. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the shopping homepage, which is where you guys will default to. And there are two places that you can search for a supplier, which again, the first thing you're always going to do, especially right now, I'm sure a lot of you have vendors that you're trying to get into the system. The first thing you want to do is search to see if they're already in there. We already invited, so all the vendors that were in CFS, we invited into the system. Whether they have completed their profile and are active is up to you guys to determine before you start ordering. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do that now. So search for a vendor, search for a supplier is the first thing you want to do. There are two places that you can do that. The first place, you come to the supplier flyout, manage suppliers, search for a supplier. This will take you into the advanced supplier search. The other way you can do it is if you go back to your home page, go to the quick links. This is going to be your best friend. Search for a supplier right here. I'm going to click on that. See, it took me to the same page. Okay, so I'm going to talk about two separate topics at the same time here. I'm going to talk about the advanced search and I'm going to talk about suppliers. So this is the advanced search for suppliers, but the way that this search engine works and all the fields on here, which I'm going to go into detail, functions exactly the same no matter what it is that you're searching for. If you're searching for requisitions, the tools that I'm going to show you right now apply if you're searching for vouchers, purchase orders, suppliers, receipts. It all applies no matter what search you're doing. They all follow the same format. So just for example, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Take a quick look at how this looks. You got this bar on the side, just a general look of this. I'm going to go into orders, requisitions. So as you can see, very similar looking. I'm searching for requisitions here. The way you can tell the difference is right here. It says search requisitions. So what that tells me is that this is searching for all the requisitions that exist in the system. As you can see, I'm amazed by this already. We already have 116 requisitions in the system since Monday. So congrats. You guys are using this system. I'm happy about that. Okay, so I'm going to go back to supplier search again, though. So I'm going to go here, search for a supplier. Okay. The first thing you want to do when you're going to search for a supplier is come right here where it says status, active for shopping. That means that this is only showing vendors that are completely fully onboarded into the system and are active for shopping that you can put in requisitions for right now. What you're going to do is you want to click change this to all and click apply. As you can see, that essentially doubled the amount of vendors in the system. That's because there are a lot of vendors that are being onboarded into the system right now. So just because a supplier comes up on this list, it doesn't mean that they are approved and ready to be ordered from. So it's important for you guys to remember that when you're searching. So let's see, where do I start here? I guess just a general note about suppliers in the system and how things have changed from how we were doing things before Monday. So as I said earlier, this is a system-wide procurement program that all the campuses and the chancellor's office are now using. Because it's a shared database, it's also a shared supplier database. So there's a system-wide supplier management team who is managing the suppliers and onboarding of suppliers for the whole system. That's actually a really good thing because what that means is if it's a shared database, we have access to all the suppliers that other campuses have used or are using. The way that that's delineated in the system is by business unit. So a quick note on business units. Right now, the only business unit that you can shop with in the system is the stateside business unit. FLX&P is what it is. It used to be FLC&P. Now it's FLX&P. So essentially, if you want to use state funds to make a purchase, you're doing it in the system. Eventually, the foundation will have their own business unit in the system, and you would just change business units before you start shopping. They're called personas. You would change it before. I'm not really going to talk about that. I don't want to confuse anybody. This has come up in other trainings and it starts to cause confusion. So if you're using foundation funds or you're shopping with any auxiliary funds, follow their process. It's not changing as of now. This is only for stateside purchases. So you want to check and see in the supplier's profile if they are active for shopping for our business unit. Again, our business unit is FLXMP. That's what you're looking for. So I'm gonna just quickly click on one of these vendors here. So well, actually first, let me just show you. So when you first come onto this page, it's gonna say active for shopping only. As you can see, every vendor that comes up here says approved. That means that they're fully vetted and ready to shop. You can put in a rec for any one of these vendors right now. If I change it to all, now you can see that there's some other types of statuses that are popping up here. Invited, in progress. So again, I'm just gonna go from the perspective of like, I want to shop in the system. This is my first time using it, and I want to look and see if my vendor's active for shopping. So let's just say this vendor right here, 1080 Motion Inc. I don't know what this vendor is. I'm gonna click on them. So if you click on their name, it's going to pull up the what we call the supplier 360. Gives you all the important information you need to know as a shopper, really, about this vendor. So as you see here, it says, oh, another thing I want to mention, let me go back. This other tab here, relationship in network, don't change that. In network means a CSU vendor. So all of the vendors that we will use are in network. You want to leave that as it is. This is a platform that's used by outside of the CSU. So if you click outside, if you change it, it'll show vendors that we can't use, essentially. So make sure you leave it as in network. Status, you want to change to all so you can see vendors that haven't been fully onboarded yet. Okay, back to where I was. 1080 Motion Inc. I want to click on this vendor. Let's just say I want to use this vendor. It says they're approved, but I need to know that they're approved for our business unit. So if you come right here and you look, it says active business unit, SJX00. Well, right off the bat, I know that that's not our business unit. FLXMP is our business unit. So I think this is San Jose is what that stands for. So to me, that means, okay, I need to do something to make this vendor active in the system. And essentially there's a form you would fill out to extend this vendor to our business unit. It's a very simple form. I'll show it to you in a minute. But that's how you would know. So just because they're approved, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're ready for us to use. You need to click on their profile and see if they're active in our business unit. I'm going to go back and try to find one that we're using now. Just off the fly here. Okay, this one I know. So 1220 Inc. This is one that we use. Same thing. This is a supplier 360. It says they're active in network, active for shopping. That's what I want to see. And here, look, active business units. There's 7 business units that they're active for. So that means that they're working with us, but they're also working with other campuses as well, which is common. And here you go. They all are. And hey, what do you know? There it is. FLXMP. So you cannot place an order for a vendor in this system unless that you see this on their vendor profile. Very important. I know I'm spending a lot of time talking about the details of this, but I really think it's important because this is the first step for anything in the system. We have to make sure our vendors are onboarded. Like later down the line, maybe a couple of years from now, we probably won't touch on this as much, but this is super important at this point because if they're not in the system, you can't order with them. So we want to make sure we get that all taken care of first. Okay, so I'm going to go back to results. And I'm just going to talk generally about the search functionality of this page. Like I said earlier, this search is universal to the system. There's 2 types of search. There's a quick search, which is this bar at the top, like I told you about earlier, Amazon. Hey, look, it shows me all these documents. That's the quick search. This page that we're looking at is called the advanced search. And again, no matter what documents you're looking at, this is going to function exactly the same way. So I'll go through all the features of it. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I just want you to know the tools that are available, and then you guys can play with it on your own. So the first thing I want to talk about are filters. Obviously, 20,000 results. It's quite a bit. Definitely something you would want to filter down if you're trying to find a certain vendor or a list of vendors or a list of requisitions, something like that. So the first thing is this tab on the left-hand side here is quick filters. So it's exactly that. It's an easy way to quickly drill down to certain categories inside the system. So for example, current review step. No, that's not what I want. Let's see. How about this? Certified small businesses. So I'm going to click on this. So it just narrowed it down to approved vendors who are certified small businesses in the system. So California certified small businesses. So it narrowed it down, and then it also added this filter here. So every filter that you add is going to appear across this bar right here. You can drill it down even more. In some cases, it depends on what it is. But if I click it and take it away, it's going to go away. Back to my 20,000 results. And for every different type of search, for requisitions, for purchase orders, there's like a list of quick filters that have been preset that you can choose from. Um, so like NAICS codes, who's pending approval. Hey, here we go. Look at this, approval status. So we can see like which ones are in pending approval. And then it's going to tell me all the ones that are pending approval. So that's how the quick filters works. There is a more advanced way of filtering that you can do, and then how you would do that is you come up here, add filter, and here you can filter based off of many different fields. Essentially, any field associated with the vendor you can use. Um, the ones with the star are specific to the CSU. Again, this is used by other people outside of the CSU, this software. So all these ones are specific. As you can see, it says custom fields. But you can still use these ones as well. That's what that little asterisk means. So I could search by business unit, supplier name, supplier class, email, contact. There's really quite a bit you can do with this. If I click one of these, let's just say postal code. So if I enter the postal code 92831. Okay, that didn't work. Let's try it. I haven't really played with this too much, so I don't know which ones are gonna work and which ones weren't. Let's try
Hey,
something else.
hey, Lauren.
Yeah.
There's a question out there. Can we search for places that sell things like promo items, like that kind of category?
Yeah. Okay, great question. So I can show you. Yes, you can. One thing about that though is it's up to the supplier to identify in their profile if the commodity codes that they would use. Um, so if they do that, then it'll show up in the search. If not, it's not a requirement, I don't believe, when they sign up. So if that, I think that's what you're talking about, like the customer commodity code. Is that what you mean, Joe? Is that what you're kind of alluding to?
Yeah, that probably sounds like the best way. Um,
I don't know if there's another way to do it more specifically, but like you can search by commodity codes for like they can identify commodity codes that they use or things that they sell essentially. So as you see here, I added commodity code. Um, so like if I was looking for some construction companies, look at here, construction services, I could click on that, apply, and there you go. It's narrowed down. That kind of a
Yeah.
question actually, if you're looking for a supplier like who can do like branded items or like promo items, you could and you can't find that here, you can just reach out to the contracts procurement department and we can help you with that specifically. But just specific to
Lauren,
that question.
just to touch on that, on the quick filters, there is customer commodity code, and that is
Yeah.
where the customers identify what they sell. So in there, there is a commodity code for like promo items, just to answer that question, but you can get pretty particular about what you want to see.
Yeah, so this is a list of all the commodity codes that we have. I access it through the filters, but you can go in the quick filters and find it as well. And you can essentially narrow it down based upon commodity codes, what kind of services they're offering, professional services, supplies, medical supplies, for example. Again, I don't know if it's a requirement when they fill out their profile to add that information in, but if they do add it, you can search for them based on that. But again, if you have a question about a certain type of vendor you're looking for, I would just reach out to the procurement office and we'll be able to help you out with that. And we'll be able to give you more curated advice than you would get from searching in the system. So yeah, that would be my first place to go for that.
and
Um,
then Jennifer has a question. Can we filter suppliers that are active for just our business unit?
yes, you can, I believe. Okay, I'm figuring this. I'm gonna try this right now. I don't know if I've tried it yet. Let me
Yeah,
see.
and there's sort of two options for that. So,
Okay, you want to walk me through that really quick and I can do it?
uh, there's either the quick filters if it pops up, but
I don't see it.
that's kind
Yeah.
of like if it's there, it's there. But we can add the filter and we can search for the business unit and add that. Um, oh, it was actually with the top one right there.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, perfect. Okay.
And then there was one. where there's a question, it's like on the bottom with the star, it says, which camp's gonna use this supplier? That one might work.
Oh, actually, yeah, that's the one that I need to do because I remember this was asked before. So, yeah, because that one wasn't working.
Hmm.
So I'm going to do that. Add filter, go to the ones with the star, the asterisk. These are the ones that are specific to our campus. Which campuses can use a
I,
supplier? This is
yeah, I think
last
it's that.
one here.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to select that and I can select Fullerton, apply. There you go. This is great actually because number has doubled in the last 2 weeks maybe. So we've been putting a lot of effort into getting your ventures in there. So like even while we're on the phone, let's see. I already have more supplier approvals in my queue, so I'm glad. Yeah, put them in now. We'll get them all in for you. Um,
If it makes everybody feel any better, the feedback we've been getting from the CSU is that our campus has done a really good job in doing our best to add suppliers. You can imagine other campuses are like, we still need to do invitations.
yeah,
So we've tried our best. Not everybody's in there, but
yeah.
a lot are.
Um, like another note on suppliers, just in general, how the process goes. So, um, there are two types of supplier requests you can put in. One that will extend them from, if they already have a profile in the system, you can extend them from you can fill out a supplier extension or re-invite form, which I'll show you where that is now. So I'm gonna go home. I'll go here. No, sorry. Go home. That's sorry, my home page is different. I changed it. Shopping home. You'll scroll down, go to this tile miscellaneous here, and you would fill this out. Supplier extension or re-invite. I'm going to click on it so you can see. So you would use this form if you search for your vendor in the system, you saw that they were active for shopping, but you didn't see our business unit available. This is the form you'd use to extend them to our business unit. Essentially, what happens is you fill out it's like 3 questions and then click review and submit. At that point, what will happen is it'll go to the supplier campus approvers, which is me, Alex A, Alex R, and Alberto, I believe, are the 4 people who are managing that. And we're all kind of just tag teaming, working together to approve them. We're going to approve it, and then it'll go to the chancellor's office to be approved. The timeline on this has been extremely quick. I'd say on average, it's like 10 to 15 minutes that those 2 approvals are happening. After that happens, what happens is they're going to send an invite out to the email to the supplier, and that email does not come from a Fullerton email address. It comes from Jagger, which is the software platform that we're using, or the company that has built this for us. Um, It'll detail, hey, you're being invited to be part of CSU BY. It'll provide them with resources and links to instructions on what they need to do. But from that point on, they have to create their own profile in the system. So you'll identify an email address and a contact name of the person who needs to be invited. And I'm getting ahead of myself. That's the other way of inviting someone into the system. So if they've already created a profile in the system, and you just need to extend them to our business unit. You would go to this form. Again, I'll do it again for you guys so you can see. Go to shopping home. This is your default home page. Miscellaneous, this tab right here. Supplier extension or re-invite. And it tells you exactly when you would use this. So use this form when a registration invite has been resent to a supplier that is loaded and not complete. So if you see that they're in there, but they haven't completed their profile yet, this will resend it to the same email address that they already sent it to. Uh, if you need to extend it from one into our business unit, you would use it for that as well, which it details right here.
And
I highly
then
recommend you read through this so you can see what it's exactly asking of you. Yeah,
And then Lauren, if you could like do a quick search once again, I think Mandy wants to see that asterisk that we showed earlier.
sure. Yeah, I'll
But
do that right now.
essentially, anyone who's doing this extension, you do probably want to start with the search, and you'll want to grab the supplier's name and the supplier's number, because
Yeah.
that form's going to ask you for those 2 things.
Yeah, so okay, so I'm going to show you that one more time again. Look at defaults to active for shopping. So you're going to click all. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place here. We'll get all the information you guys need about suppliers though. Okay, so I'm going to click add filter, scroll all the way down. So remember these asterisk ones are specific to our the CSU. They're custom fields that Jagger that they created for our purposes. Um, this one right here. Which campuses will use a supplier? And you would check that. And then it will narrow it down to Fullerton, apply. I highly recommend though that if you have specific suppliers you're looking for, you don't even really need to do that. The best way is just to do a quick search. Take your status, change it to all, and then search for the name of the supplier right here in the search bar, and they're going to come up. So like, for example, All Pro, that was one someone asked me about recently. It's a keyword search. Here it is, first one that popped up, All Pro Building Services. So just make sure you have your status to all, not just active for shopping, and then search in this search bar right here. This is going to search through the results that you have. Um, so let me use this for an example. I want to shop, I want to create a requisition for this vendor, All Pro Building Services. I searched for them and I found them. There's a profile for them in the system, but it says in progress. So what does that mean? So if you hover over this little question mark right here, it's going to tell you all the separate statuses for the profile. So again, the invitation is sent from the chancellor's office. At that point, it's up to the supplier to create their profile. And it's important that when we invite them, we send it to an email address of an individual who can complete the profile, who has information, who has an understanding of the business structure and can answer business questions about their company that they work for. Uh, information, yeah, things about their business structure, payment questions. They need to know that stuff. So if you send it to a sales rep, for example, and then they come back and they tell you, "Oh, I can't answer the questions to this." They can't forward the invitation. We would have to send a new invitation to the email address of a person who can complete the profile. So something to keep in mind. So registration status. So I'm going to go through every single one of these because I think they're important. These are all the possible statuses that could exist in the system for our vendors. Um, the first one is none. So this this only will happen from the period of time from when you submit your request to add the supplier to the time that it's approved and sent to the invitation is set to the vendor. So essentially in the time that it takes for the campus and the chancellor's office to approve your request, that's when it's going to say none. So it's a very short period of time. You probably won't see this one. The next one is invited. This means that supplier has been sent an invitation to the email address that you identified in your request. It means that they have not clicked on it or acknowledged it in any way. If you see that it says invited, that means that with the email sent, we're not sure if they got it or not yet. The next thing is in progress. In progress means that at the very least they've clicked on it. They've acknowledged it. That someone got the email, looked at it, opened it, and clicked on the invitation. This could mean anywhere from that to as far as they're in the process of submitting it, their profile registration or their registration, but it's been returned to them by the chancellor's office. So there's a big range, but essentially it means that something's happened. There's been some activity. The next one is profile complete. Uh, this means that their vendor profile is been completed, but they have not been fully vetted and approved in the system by the chancellor's office. It says there, please allow 3 business days. That means 3 business days for the chancellor's office to complete their review and fully vet them for shopping. It does not mean it's going to take 3 days for the whole process. From my experience so far, there's been vendors that have been added, requested on Monday and are already added and live in the system. It could take longer than that. It really depends on how long it takes the suppliers to do their part because they have to go in and create their own profile in the system. The next status is approved. Approved means they're fully vetted and can be shopped for in whatever business units they were requested for. So again, just because your supplier is approved, it doesn't mean that you can shop with them. You need to check to see if that business unit is active for that vendor. So I believe this is I'm gonna use this as an example, All Pro. I believe this is just specific to our campus. So I'm gonna click on it. And as you can see, not active for any business units. If you want to know what email address it was sent to and when, you can also find that here. You can come here and go to summary, and it tells you right here the email address and at what time it was sent. So you can come in here and look and say, oh, shoot, that's not the right email address. I need to resend it. So um, again, there's two forms that you can use to add suppliers. There's a supplier extension form, which I showed you. You would use that if for two reasons. You're extending a supplier from that's already active in the system to our business unit, or you want to resend an invitation to the same email address that it was already sent to. Those are the two ways you'd use that form. The other form is the new supplier form. So again, if you go back to your home page, shopping home, and you click on this, search for new or request new supplier, this is the other form. You would use this form if you want to resend an invitation to a different email address, or you have a new supplier that's just not in the system at all. And it has very similar questions, but it's going to be a different process because if they already have a profile in the system, they don't need to create a new one. It's just essentially the chancellor's office turning on our business unit for that supplier. If it's a new vendor, they have to come in and build their profile. This is where you would start with the new supplier request. Okay, a lot of information about searching and suppliers. You take a second now, answer any questions. I see you guys have been answering in the chat. Does anyone have any questions anything they want to throw out there? Because I'm going to move on from suppliers after this. I know we're running out of time, so
There's a question, can we save our favorite or most used suppliers?
um, can you save them? So that does show me one search functionality that I didn't mention, but I don't know if there's a way to save them specifically. Um, I'm not sure. Let me see what else. I saw some other questions come up. You can save your search though, which I'll show you. Um, what else came up?
And then do you want us to do the form on our own or should we ask you to submit? These ones you can do on your own.
Yeah, actually, we would prefer that you do it, since they're your suppliers that you want to work with, and you don't have to wait on us to do it. We're expecting you guys to be doing this. Yeah.
And then same thing with the extension. Uh,
Yep.
and then
Yep.
Mandy has a comment, new supplier review. I'm not sure what she means by that. If you want to expand, Mandy.
I am so sorry. I had to leave for another meeting, and so I missed that part when you guys were entering new supplier. I just want to make sure it's as easy as it looks. I'm so sorry. I had to come back into the meeting late to this meeting because I had to go to another one.
Okay.
No problem. Yeah, so if you have a new supplier that's not in the system at all, you would use this request new supplier form, which you can get to from your default home page, which is shopping home, right here. Request new supplier. You click on that. Um, it essentially asks you 5 or 6 questions to clarify where the invitation needs to be sent, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Uh, it's very easy. You can fill them out in like a minute or two. Uh, okay. I'm going to move on because this is taking longer than I thought already, and we're running out of time, and I want to talk about shopping. So, again, first things first, you really want to make sure your suppliers are in the system because you don't want to start shopping with the intent of using a supplier that isn't in the system. You want to make sure they're in there first because you cannot shop for a supplier that is not fully approved for our business unit. Say that again. You can't shop for a supplier that is not approved for our business unit. You need to check that first. Okay. So we're shopping now. Our supplier's approved. So back to the shopping homepage. Actually, I'm gonna go to my PowerPoint really quick. And again, we're talking about shopping now. Um, but we're gonna go in depth in shopping a little bit later next week. We'll essentially spend the whole week talking about shopping. Uh, okay. So this is just gonna kind of give you an overview. If you feel ambitious, you can start now, but I'm gonna just give you an overview of the options. So, okay, here we go. All right. All right. So your supplier's approved in the system. Now we're going to talk about shopping. There are two ways you can shop in the system. They start out differently, but they meet up at the same point before you submit your requisition. There are punch-out vendors and form vendors, I guess I'll call them. There's two ways you can shop is using a punch-out or using a form. We're going to talk about a punch-out first, but I'm going to just kind of cover both just generally so you have an understanding. So a punch-out vendor, I don't like that word. It doesn't really mean much to me personally. So I think it's important to explain. So punch-out vendors are vendors that we have contracts with at a system-wide level, and we get catalog pricing and a premium shopping experience through CSU Buy with. Those vendors include Amazon, Staples, B&H Photo, Medline, Fisher Scientific, just to name a few. Um, what the punch-out process is you essentially go to CSU Buy, click on the Staples icon. It takes you to staples.com or to their shopping portal. You would shop on their portal like you normally would. It's a seamless transition. You click submit order. It's going to bring you back into our system and it's going to create a shopping cart for you. So you don't have to do any shopping on our site. It does it all for you. Um, it'll take all of the information that Staples uses, massage it, and make it make sense in our system for the most part, and then create a cart for you. From there, you just enter your chart filled information and you can submit your order. It's very seamless. It's very smooth. Um, a note on Staples or any of the punch out vendors. If they're vendors that you've used before and you've shopped with your P card or with your on their website, you're no longer doing that. You're going to do it in this system. So, for example, Staples. A lot of people use Staples Advantage. If you're going to use Staples now, you're going to be shopping in CSU Buy through the portal, through the Staples Punch Out. It's the same functionality. It's better because it's all tracked in the system. The DOA approvals are in the system. If you need help from the buyers or anyone else, we can all see what's going on and we can assist you directly. It's a much more modern, streamlined, better way of doing it for CSU buy or for CSU purchases. Um, I guess this is a good point for me to kind of discuss the P card because I haven't said the P word yet. So P card, not changing, not going away. You can still use your P card, but if you can do the P card transactions in this system, we're going to encourage you to do that. For example, Staples or Amazon. Amazon is a punch out vendor in the system. You can click on Amazon. It's going to take you to the Amazon shopping experience on their site. You're going to do your shopping. And yeah, it's seamless. It takes you back into our site and you can submit your requisition. We've tested this already. On Friday, last Friday, we ordered some items on Amazon to make sure it was working. They were here by Tuesday, I think, or Monday. I can't remember which day they came. It's a seamless process. So we're encouraging everyone to use that. Uh, just a general note about the differences. So if you're going to have a purchase order with the vendor, you would use this system. Um, if you we think of them as two separate tools, two different, like we call them payment vehicles, a P card and a purchase order. They're both ways that you can purchase things from a vendor. They're both tools that you would use in different scenarios. So again, the P card's not going away, but it may be used to a limited capacity because a lot of things that people are using the P card for up to this point can be done more efficiently and in a more streamlined fashion in this system. So people want kind of this like catch-all answer of like, when can I use my P card? Well, unfortunately, every scenario is different. My general advice is that if you want to use something, buy something with your P card, but it's something you can do through this system, we're going to encourage you to use this. And you don't have to reconcile if you use this. So this is a much more streamlined process, and I think it'll take a few months for this to sink in for people, but a lot of times this is going to be a much more headache-free and easy process than using the P card. With the P card up front, you might be able to purchase something, but you have to do a lot of work on the back end. And this avoids all of that. There's no back end work. You place your order, the purchase order is created, you receive your items or your services, if invoices are paid against it, it closes out, it's done. There's no back end work. Um, okay, so back to what I was saying. Uh, we're going to talk about punch outs first. That's the first way. The other way of shopping is using a form. So essentially, any vendor that's not a punch out vendor in the system, you're going to fill out a form. I'm going to talk about the forms in a minute. First, I'm going to talk about the punch out vendors. Okay. Shopping from a punch out. Can you guys see the PowerPoint here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Really quick,
Yeah.
Lauren. There was a comment from Diana that she tried to order from Staples and it went straight to her approver rather than taking her back to the system. Um, that sounds like you access the old Staples. So the way that we want to think about like what's this transition thing is like if you were if you had your own phone line and you were moving to somebody else's phone plan, that's essentially what we're doing with Staples. So we're now on the CSU staple plan and the Staples Advantage that we're used to using. We're gonna phase that out and having to access Staples from P2P.
Yeah. So if you were going to the staples.com through your web browser outside of P2P, we're not doing that anymore. You're going to be doing it here. You'll go log into CSU Buy, access Staples from here, and shop. I'm going to show it to you so you can see. Um, uh, if you have a specific question about that, Diana, you can send us an email and we can reach out and we can make sure it's working properly for you. Okay, so why do you want to use a punch out? Pricing is automatically updated. You don't have to get new quotes or do anything like that. Like you're gonna have updated live pricing because that's managed by the vendors. Um, it's much faster and more streamlined experience, and the items will flow right back into CSU Buy for approvals and for payment. It's a seamless transition. Okay, so I'm going to show you this. I'm going to switch my screen here, and I'm going to reshare. All right, can everyone see my screen? Yes? I think so. Doing the same thing I've been doing anyway. Okay, so you're going to scroll down here. And we're going to talk about these tiles again. So, any kind of shopping you want to do is going to be through these tiles. But just a general note before you do that, and this is true of just shopping in general in the system, you always want to start from your carts. So in CFS, I'm going to talk about that because that's kind of what this system's replacing. You had a requisition and it turned into a purchase order. It was very bare bones. It didn't include approvals or anything like that. This is a much more refined, nuanced system. So instead of having a requisition to a PO, you start with a shopping cart. You fill out a form to add lines to your shopping cart, and then your shopping cart is approved and it turns into a requisition, which is then goes into the workflow approval. So it sounds like more steps, but really they all add value to the process and streamline the process because all the things that people are doing on Smartsheets or ServiceNow, those things are all being embedded into this system. So it's just one streamlined process instead of reaching out to people and asking for status or updates, things like that. Like there's really no need to do that because everyone can see everything in this system. There's full 100% visibility. If I place an order in the system, any person who has access to this system can see it. There's no more hidden screens. Everything is visible to everybody, which is great because you don't need to ask people for the status of things because you can just come right in here and look for yourself. It's a lot of added value to that visibility. So the first thing you want to do when you're ever shopping is to first confirm that your vendor's in the system and approved. If they're not, you need to fill out one of those forms to get them in the system. So once you know your vendor's approved in the system and you can order with them, first thing you want to do is you want to come here to shop, my carts and orders, view carts. As you can see, I have a test cart in here. This is going to show you all your carts that you have in the system. Assigned carts are carts that are assigned to you if you're a requester. And draft carts are all your other carts, essentially. You can have active or draft carts. It's going to denote that here. If I create another cart, it would say it here, but it wouldn't say active. So your active carts means that if you do any other shopping or fill out any other forms, it's going to add to that cart. So you always have one active cart if you have any. So I'm going to delete this because this is kind of what you guys would want to do. So we want you to do cart management. You want to make sure that when you start, you have a cleared cart. So I have no carts in here. And the first thing I'm going to do is come here and click Create Cart. Just so you know, there's another way you can get to this page. Again, your best friend is this quick links right here. You can just click this View Carts. As you can see, I have no carts, but I'm in a good spot. So I know my vendors in the system. I know that I can shop. I'm going to click Create Cart. And here I am. I have an empty shopping cart. This is the first page you're going to start on. Only two fields you can fill out on this page are cart name, which it's going to give you this really weird long number. It's the date, your user ID number in the system, and what cart it is. It's not useful at all unless you're a robot and you know how to manage things through this kind of you can put words in here, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. You can essentially customize this to your department, the vendor, the month you're ordering it. You would want to include information about that type of purchase if it was for a certain event. Because if you customize your cart name, all of the other documents that are created in the system originate from the cart. So the cart turns into a requisition is created from the cart. And then the requisition a purchase order is created from the requisition, and then receipts and vouchers are created from the purchase order. Those are all associated documents in the system, but they all have this origination point, which is your cart. So if you put your cart name as something useful that is searchable, like this is a searchable field in the system. If I put in a name here and I come into this quick search up here, if I put like my name and my ID number or department ID number, I can search for that field and it'll pull up all those documents that are associated with this cart. So it's really useful. Play around with it. It's beneficial to rename, at least for your own for keeping track of your orders, essentially. So I'm just gonna put test Zoom cart. Deliver to location. This is so there's your ship to location, which is shipping and receiving. Deliver to location is the specific location on campus that the items is going to be the final resting place or the place where those items are going to be received by the owners or the people who purchase them. So I work in College Park. So essentially how you search in here is you would type in CP for College Park, a 0, and then I'm going to type in my room number. 300, that's our front desk. You need this if you're buying something that's shipping to shipping and receiving, you're going to use this number here to tell them where to bring it on campus. So this is our front desk. This is where I know shipping and receiving is going to bring items that we purchase. So I'm going to put that here. If you guys are searching in this field and you can't find your location, send us an email. There's been issues with this. If you work in the library, there's issues with the library locations. We're working through all that. So if you can't find your location, let us know and we'll help you sort it out. It's a required field. You can't move forward unless you fill this out, which is kind of why I'm spending this time talking about it. So, okay, I got my cart name and my deliver to location. I'm going to click here to start shopping. It's going to bring me back to the shopping homepage. Now we're going to talk about the tiles. So here are my tiles. This miscellaneous is for all forms that aren't related to purchases. All the other purchasing avenues are accessed through these 6 tiles right here. And they're broken into categories. So the first thing is, let's just say I'm going to do Staples. That's what I'm going to use for an example here. I know Staples sells office and classroom supplies. Look, sticky notes. It's like the first thing you think of when you think of Staples, or me at least. I'm going to click on this. Okay, so there's 4 options that popped up here. These first 3 that have a logo are going to take you to, these are all punch-out vendors. School Specialty, Complete Book, and Staples. These are all punch-out vendors, which again, remember we're talking about punch-outs first. So if I click on this, it's just going to take me to the Staples punch-out. So I'll click on it so you guys can see. Okay. Here we go. Enter my zip code and voila, I'm here. I can search and shop on Staples. Um, as you see here at the top, it says I have 45 minutes to shop. That's my session. If you have to do your shopping in that time period. If I were to close out of this punch out right now, all the data in it is not saved anywhere. So the data is saved when when you complete your order and you submit order and it brings it back into CSU Buy. So make sure that you know ahead of time what you're going to shop for. If I added like 20 items into my cart and I just left this here and let it time out, all that information is deleted. You need to do it in that time period. You can't save things into a folder that you would come back into later. It saves once you send it back into CSU Buy, essentially. Um, what else? Yeah, I mean, other than that, you just shop on the site, just like you would in any other site. Um, you can see items here. A lot of times it'll tell you, it'll give you, uh, you'll get contract pricing. So we have, again, catalog. It's this catalog pricing for a lot of these items. Um, yeah, it's pretty great. So I'm gonna just, for time's sake, I'm gonna close out of that. Um, okay, so punch outs. That's essentially how they work. There are quite a few different ones. I'll show you a few others. Fisher Scientific, Medline, Thomas Scientific. Some of these vendors I don't even know, but I'm sure they're applicable to people on campus. Let's go to IT. B&H, CDWG, Dell, SHI, HP. So we have quite a few vendors, and this list will only grow as time goes on. But essentially, all these vendors will operate in that way. And they all have their own website, and they manage how you shop on their shopping experience. So they're all very slightly, but again, once you complete shopping, it's going to take you back into our site, and then you can go from there to complete your approvals. So the other way you can shop is using forms. So essentially, if you have a vendor that you want to use and work with that's approved in the system for ordering, you would use, and that's not a punch out vendor, you would use a form. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint really quick and change my share screen. Okay, so forms. Um, a form is something that you would use for any vendor that is not a punch out vendor. So, for example, that All Pro Building Services. So if they were approved in the system and I wanted to place an order with them, I would have to use a form. It's essentially a manual way of doing it. So essentially, the form asks you specific questions, the type of purchase you're making, ask for cost details, um, description of the items you're purchasing, and then from there, you fill that out and you enter your chart field information. And at that point, the form and the punch out are going to meet up and exactly be in the same point before they're submitted for approval. The system does not treat them differently. There are two avenues that two branches that meet at the trunk of this system, which is the whole purchasing process. So this is a list of all the forms that we have in the system. Again, this is kind of mirroring what a requisition was like in CFS, except now we have this more nuanced system that can take away a lot of the manual work that we were doing, and we can refine that by specifying the type of purchase you're doing to the form that you use. So I'll go through every single one. I know we're almost at the end of time here. So the first one, hospitality. You're making hospitality purchases, you want to start with this form. This asks a lot of questions that are on the D11. At this time, if all the questions that are required for your hospitality purchase are covered by this form, you do not need a D11 form. If you have your D11 form is for a blanket or a period of time or a broader spectrum or like an event or something, we're probably going to require you to fill out a D11 still because the information we need won't be covered by the form. It's per purchase. This is for each hospitality purchase, opposed to the D11 form, which could cover a broader scope. The second one is independent contractor form. If you want to work with an individual on campus, if you want to let me rephrase that. If you want to work with an individual and have them come to campus, you would start with this form. This will determine if they are considered an independent contractor and can be paid through this process, or if they're considered an employee, which you would go through HR and payroll to work with them. The next two, IT hardware, IT software. These two forms are essentially replacing the ServiceNow process. Um, if you are purchasing IT software, instead of going through ServiceNow to get an IT authorization, you're going to fill out your IT software form, and all the same individuals in IT are going to be doing that review in the system here, and you'll be able to see the status. For hardware, it's a little bit different. Our IT team has determined that in the hardware form, it doesn't ask enough questions to fully clarify the information they need to know to do their review. So they at some point in that process, they're going to stop you and have you go to ServiceNow to fill out the form. I know it's a little unfortunate we couldn't get it all into the system, but we're working on it, and eventually I think we'll be able to get everything into this process. The next one is payment for unauthorized purchase. This is essentially replacing our UPAR process. So if you've made an unauthorized purchase, you would fill out this form to pay because we're obligated to pay the vendor for their services or goods that have been brought on campus. The final one is the goods and services request. This is essentially used for anything that's not covered by these other forms. So we're in the beginning of this process, and we really want you to start with the right form. It's very important on how it routes things through the system. So if you are doing an IT hardware purchase and use the goods and services request, we're probably going to send it back to you. It's not because we're trying to make things more difficult for you. It's because this is an opportunity for us all to learn together and be on the same page and make sure that everyone is doing everything properly. So if we send something back to you because you used the wrong form, we will also say, hey, I'm sending this back to you, but if you need more help or you need clarification, please reach out to us and we'll set up time and we can help you. So I know we're running out of time here. I can't show you the form, but I do want to just close out saying that this is week one. It's gone pretty well so far. We're wrapping up the trainings right now. This is our last one for this week. We're going to follow the same format next week. Uh, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are open training similar to this, but next week we're going to focus specifically on shopping. So we'll cover the punch outs and the forms in depth. You'll get a lot more training on how that works exactly. And I highly recommend you come to the in-person trainings. They're a lot more, this is a little bit more clunky doing it this way. We like to do things hands-on, and we'll have the buyers along with other people who will be available to answer your questions and just help you one-on-one. We'll be able to take breaks and walk around and help you and make sure you guys can even start placing your orders there, and we'll help you out. Um, that's going to continue for 5 weeks. Each week is a different training, so it's going to follow the same format where there'll be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are in-person trainings. Friday's like a catch-all Zoom training for people who weren't able to make it to those trainings. Next week is going to be shopping uh, in depth, and then week 3 is focused on approvers. And I think week 4 is more advanced features of the system and advanced searching and exporting reports and stuff like that. So we highly encourage you to go to those. You'll learn a lot and you'll get a chance to talk to us one-on-one. Um, uh, Also, in addition to that, we have open office hours. So we're going to be available. I think it's close to 4 hours every single day for you to book time with us. So if you go to our the CSU buy page on our contracts and procurement page, you can book directly with us through Microsoft Bookings, and you can set up time with AP or the buyers or other people from financial services, and we can help you with your problems one-on-one. I would like to say we've been doing this week. If you do that, please let us know if you're bringing multiple people so we can accommodate for space. We're happy to help out more than one person at a time, but it really helps us to know so we can coordinate space and make sure we have space for everybody when we train. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Sorry, I had to kind of cram everything in at the end there, but again, if you have questions, email us DLCSU by P2P at fullerton.edu. And yeah, thank you, Brenda. Please book time for us from that link. Again, you can find that on our contracts and procurement P2P page. And I guess I can just, I don't know, what are we doing? What time is it? Okay, yeah, we should probably end there. Reach out to us if you have more questions, and thank you for coming to the training.
Do we want to stick around for like questions for anybody who can
Sure,
stick around?
sure, yeah, yeah,
There's a couple questions.
great. Yeah, you guys are more than welcome to stick around if you have questions. I just want to be,
Yeah.
you don't have to stay if you have something else you need to do. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, there was a question. Can we import our frequent purchases from Staples to the new P2P site? I don't know the answer to that actually. I'm not sure that we can do that.
I don't know either, but I'm gonna say probably not. Um, but that is a good question. We can look into that. I don't believe you can. The thing is, I don't know, actually. It might be possible.
You
Um,
might have the cart, but I don't know if it's going to feed back into Staples.
yeah,
Yeah.
Hi,
because
that was
hello.
that was me asking that question. Hi, my name's Heather.
Hi.
So I have a couple of different lists currently on Staples, and I noticed that there were some other pre-populated lists on there from other CSUs, but I'm sure if all of us are able to do that, that it would get way too numerous. So I don't know if there is a way to do that.
That's a good question, though. I think we're actually going to meet with our Staples rep because we're kind of experiencing some shipping issues. So, we can bring that up and just see if it's a possibility. So yeah, we'll see if we can find an answer, but I'm just going to give you a preliminary, probably not. Anyone else
Yeah,
want to?
can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. At the end of the month, we reconcile our P card to U.S. Bank, and we fill that out and submit that. Is this in conjunction with it, or is it totally separated with it?
It's totally separated from that. So that's specific to the P card or travel, and
Uh-huh.
this is essentially all purchases outside of that. So
Okay.
this would be for vendors that you were putting in purchase orders for before we went live, and then additionally, there are quite a few vendors that people use with their P cards regularly or make purchases with their P cards with regularly that we can be done in this system now. So we're going to
Okay.
encourage you to do that if you can. Yeah.
Okay. So, say I purchased a lot of fuel for the our diesel engine, ramjet, stuff like that, and it has to go through environment EHS now. Is that EHS system in conjunction with this, or is it separate?
So it's separate, but it's tied together by the approver. So there's actually an EH&S approval step in the system. So if you're purchasing anything that needs EH&S approval, the system will flag it by the commodity code. So fuel, for example, if you're purchasing fuel and you do it through the system, it'll flag EH&S. I think Leo and Justine and a few other people in there are in that approval process. They're still using their current approval process. We're essentially using both right now. The goal is to kind of have it all done in one system, but for now, the EH&S approval system in P2P is not like robust enough to for their needs. So, but they'll reach out to you in this system if you need further approval, and they'll help
Okay.
you do
And
that. Yeah.
one last one is I order also a lot of metals and stuff for our machine for our materials that we break in our labs and stuff. And it goes to the machine shop and they put it in a certain format. Now this material, some of it is in metric, and you can't get metric around. I have to go to like Ohio to get the metric, and I have like a $1,500 limit on my P card. And if it's above that, if I order a lot of it for a big lot of classes one semester, then I don't use my P card. Then I have to get a purchase order, correct?
hmm Yes. I mean, just generally, I'd recommend getting that vendor into P2P, and then you could be able there. That limit would be process would be streamlined for you. You wouldn't have to reconcile, and you would be able to purchase more at one time with that vendor. You could even have a blanket purchase order, and it would really streamline that process. So I would recommend that you try to put in a vendor ad for that vendor or search for them in the system first. And if you need help with that, just reach out to us and we'll help you out.
Oh, thank you very much. And I'm going to sign off now. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Yeah, yeah,
I
of
have a
course.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
We get pizza Oh, quite a bit. I mean, I do events. So Little Caesars, is that something I should put in here? Or we do
I'd
Little
say,
Caesars, we do Papa John's. How
I'm
do
gonna
we
say generally no.
know what?
No, you wouldn't do it through this system because
Okay.
that's kind of that's a good example of a time when it still makes sense to use a P card. Um, I'd say one of the parameters, and again, I'm speaking generally because each case is different. If it's a time sensitive thing, so you can do like overnight orders for Amazon in here, but if you're purchasing pizza, that's something that you would purchase it that day and pick it up that day. That would
Okay.
be a justified reason to use the P card because it's going to be a
So
faster process.
when you say we're using the P card for that, when we go through the system that you just explained, is that not using the P card? Say I order from Amazon, is that no longer the P card?
This is entirely separate from the P card. The P card is there are think of it as two different tools you have for purchasing. So if you're going to use a PO or purchase order, you're going to do that through this system for whatever needs you have. Uh, and if you're using your P card, it's another tool that you can use. There are two tools that are available and they fill different roles, essentially,
So
purchasing roles.
why would I use Amazon through here rather than my regular P card?
Well, actually, Amazon's a specific case. So for Amazon,
Okay.
we're requiring everyone to use the system now for
Okay.
Amazon. You're
For
no longer,
Amazon, we
Yeah,
use
so
this. Okay.
just
yes.
just to clarify, Sandy, right now we have the CSU by Marketplace, which is P card driven. So whenever you open Amazon or Staples, you can use your P card in there. All of those marketplace punch out suppliers are moving into P2P, and P2P does not take any credit card, P card information. So when you're shopping in
Oh,
Amazon now, you will be entering in chart field information instead of P card
that's never been clear to me.
numbers.
That is like aha information for me right now. I did not understand that. So thank you for
Yeah,
the
of course.
explanation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so what that
So
means is you won't have to reconcile your P card because you're purchasing on Amazon from P2P. Accounts payable will handle the payment side. Well, and that payment will match with the PO. That's sort of the reconciliation. Um, and then because there was no P card use, you don't have a P card reconciliation at all.
Okay, well, since I have your undivided attention now, I did try to do Amazon yesterday, and I mentioned in the questions, one or two of the items said my organization did not approve, but it didn't tell me what those items are. So it's I mean, I haven't finished the system, so what, how do I figure
Yeah,
that out?
it's hard to tell. We'd probably have to sit down with you to take a look with you. It could be like one of the printer ones, which we have IRG as the print supplies. But it could
Mhm.
be, we'd
What
have to
was
look
it?
at your list to be honest with you.
But it shouldn't it flag me and tell me what, so I don't have to bother you guys? Shouldn't it tell me this
Well,
item is?
we would think so, but it's our first time seeing it
Yeah,
too.
I get
So,
that. I
yeah,
get
we're
that. No
yeah.
judgment. No judgment.
this is
Yeah,
new to us too, so
give
Yeah.
we're
me a
happy to
week. Give me a week. I'll judge you in
yeah.
a week. But okay. Thanks,
Perfect.
guys. That's very
Oh,
helpful.
Sandy, by the way, you had a package come into our office and I sent it over to you.
What? Did I pay for it the right way? Do
I
I
don't
need
know.
to be allowed? No,
I
I
don't
need
know.
my
Is it
P card.
package?
Thanks, Joseph.
You're
Have a
welcome.
good day,
No,
guys.
you
Of
charged it to
course.
Joe's account. Just kidding.
You got it. Thank you all very much.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay. Again, if you guys have questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Email us, dlcsu by p2p at fullerton.edu. And if you want and you have specific questions, I would really, if you have specific questions just about purchases you're making, I would highly recommend that you book time with us because we'll be there just like full undivided attention, ready to help you with that. And we'll walk you through exactly what you need to do. If
Did
you
go
have,
yesterday. I did go yesterday for a one-on-one, and it was very, very helpful.
perfect, there you go. So she's vouching for us right off the bat. Yeah, we'll do everything we can to help you figure it out. And kind of like Joe was saying, this is new to us too. So, we were able to test stuff out in the test site before, but it was different and we weren't able to actually place orders. So we're learning this along with you guys. So you got to give us some patience, but we're essentially all hands on deck right now. So yeah. Um, if there's no more questions, I think we could probably call it there. And please come to the trainings next week if you want to learn more about shopping. Alrighty. Okay. I'm going to end it.
Okay, thanks everybody.
Thanks. See you guys.